Hello guys, welcome to Clinical Medicine and let's learn approach to ECG in myocardial infarction. Myocardial infarction is the death of myocardial tissue due to lack of blood supply. And by looking at the ECG, we can tell three things: time since the onset of MI, which part of the heart is infarcted, and which artery has got occluded. So all these three things can be answered just by looking at the ECG, and we will learn how. Let's look at the pathology of myocardial infarction. So basically, this is a atherosclerotic plaque, and when it ruptures, it leaks its thrombogenic content into the lumen, and this leads to formation of thrombus. And this thrombus can be small, and it can only partially occlude the lumen, or it can be a big thrombus and completely occlude the lumen. So when the lumen is partially occluded, there is only partial decrease in the blood supply, but there is no complete loss. So in such a case, the first region to undergo ischemia is the subendocardial region, which has been highlighted here. Whereas when there is complete loss of blood supply due to complete occlusion by the thrombus, it leads to a transmural ischemia. Transmural ischemia meaning not only the subendocardium but also the myocardium and the epicardium has got infarcted. So this is called as transmural or full thickness infarction. And how does this change our ECG manifestation? Let's see. So there are three basics of ECG. The wave of depolarization moving towards the lead, produces a positive deflection in the lead. Wave of depolarization moving away from the lead produces a negative deflection. And diagonally opposite leads, this is very important, diagonally opposite leads, they show reciprocal changes. So if one ECG lead is showing ST elevation, the diagonally opposite lead will show ST depression. We learn the application of the third rule. Let's look at the first two rules. So in subendocardial ischemia, this is the wave of depolarization, and as we can see here, it is directed away from the ECG lead. This is our V5. This is the V5 precordial lead, and the wave of depolarization is going away from the ECG lead towards the infarcted segment. So the ECG lead records a negative deflection, that is the ST depression. However, in transmural ischemia, this is the entire infarcted segment. So now the wave of depolarization is going outward towards our ECG lead. So the V5 lead will record a ST elevation. AVF. Now ECG manifestations, it also evolve with time. So this is a normal QRS complex. As soon as myocardial infarction begins, there is hyperacute T wave. This is the first sign of myocardial infarction on ECG. Followed by that, there is ST elevation within next few minutes to hours, and then within hours to days, there is a formation of Q wave. So if we compare the Q wave here, the Q wave here is deepened. It is increased in height and width. Followed by that, within days, there is T wave inversion. And within days, weeks to months, there is normalization of the ST segment, normalization of the T wave inversion, but the Q wave persists. So presence of Q wave can help in detecting old MI. Now, usually in our practice, we do a 12 lead ECG, which consists of 6 limb leads, that is 1, 2, 3, and the augmented limb lead AVR, AVF, and AVL. These are the 6 limb leads, and we have 6 precordial leads: V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, and V6 arranged as shown in this diagram. So usually we record a 12 lead ECG, and these leads on the ECG, they represent particular area of the heart. For example, if you look here, 2-3 AVF, it looks towards the inferior wall of the heart. So whenever there is inferior wall MI, there will be ST elevation in 2-3 AVF. Similarly, this is the lateral wall, and this is the high lateral wall. If you look at this border, this is the lateral wall, and this is the high lateral wall. So the high lateral wall is represented by 1 and AVL. This represents the high lateral wall, and the lateral wall here, this wall is represented by V5 and V6. So V5 and V6 are the lateral leads. V1 represents the ventricular septum, and as we can see, V2, V3, V4, they represent the anterior wall. So septal infarction will lead to ST elevation in V1, anterior wall infarction will lead to ST elevation in V2, V3, V4. If we notice that there is no lead which is representing the right wall of the heart, the right ventricular wall and the right atrial wall, and also there is no lead which is representing posterior, behind this anterior surface, the posterior wall of heart is not represented by any lead. So whenever we suspect right ventricular wall MI and posterior wall MI, then we have to put separate leads to look for it. We have to use separate leads. And when do we, but for that we need to know when do we suspect right ventricular wall MI and posterior wall MI. So right ventricular wall is nearer to the inferior wall. So whenever there is inferior wall MI, we should suspect right ventricular wall MI and also posterior wall MI. So whenever there is inferior wall MI, we have to rule out two things, right ventricular wall MI and posterior wall MI. Also, if we see here, V1 is nearer to the right ventricular wall. So whenever inferior wall MI, that is ST elevation in 2, 3 AVF, if you see ST elevation in 2, 3 AVF and if you see ST elevation in V1, then we have to look for right ventricular wall MI. And then how do we confirm whether there is right ventricular wall MI or not? Look here, what we do is we take this V3, V4, V5 and V6 and we put it on the right side of the chest, and then it is called as V3R, V4R, V5R and V6R. And this can then record the ST elevation in right side of the heart. So whenever we are suspecting right ventricular wall MI, we have to put these leads on the right side of the heart, and then these leads will show ST elevation. Similarly, how do we look for posterior wall MI? Let's learn in the next slide. Now let's understand the posterior wall MI. So this is the anterior wall, this is the posterior wall, this is our usual 6 precordial leads, and this is the infarcted segment. So in ST elevation MI, the wave of depolarization will be directed outwards towards V7, V8 and V9. If we look at it from V1 and V2 point of view, this wave of depolarization is going away from V1, V2. So V1 and V2 will record ST depression, as we have learned. So whenever inferior wall, posterior wall MI should be suspected, whenever inferior wall MI is associated with ST depression in V1 and V2, then we should, and if there is a ST elevation in V6, because V6 is nearest to the posterior wall. So if there is ST elevation in V6 plus ST elevation in 2, 3 AVF, then we should suspect posterior wall MI, and in that case we should put for V7, V8 and V9 to look for ST elevation in these leads to confirm our posterior wall myocardial infarction. Now let's look at the arterial circulation of heart. So it is supplied by 3 major arteries: right coronary artery, left circumflex artery and left anterior descending artery. Right coronary artery supplies the right atrium and the right ventricle, and in 85% of the case it gives a posterior descending branch which supplies the inferior wall of heart. Left circumflex artery supplies the left high lateral wall, the lateral wall, the high lateral wall represented by 1 AVL, the lateral wall represented by V5 and V6, we have learned. So this is supplied by the left circumflex artery, and in 15% of the cases the posterior descending branch arises from left circumflex artery and it supplies the inferior wall. So inferior wall of the heart is supplied by 85% cases RCA and 15% of the cases by LCX. So how do we distinguish when we have 2, 3 AVF ST elevation on ECG? How do we distinguish which artery is involved, whether it is the 85% RCA that involved or it is the 15% of the case where LCX is involved? So for that we need to understand the ECG lead positions. So as we learned in the previous slide, that here is lead 3 and here is lead 2. Here is our circumflex artery and here is our RCA. So if ST elevation in lead 3, here is our lead 3. If ST elevation in lead 3 is more than the ST elevation in lead 2, so lead 3 is nearer to RCA, so then RCA is our culprit artery. And if ST elevation in lead 2 is bigger than the ST elevation in lead 3, then lead 2 is closer to LCX, so then LCX is our culprit artery. So that's how we can understand whether it is the RCA or the LCX. And the third artery which supplies the largest part of the heart, that is the left anterior descending artery. This left anterior descending artery, it supplies the ventricular septum and the anterior wall and the apex. So combining the three things together, so inferior wall of the heart is represented by 2,3 AVF and is supplied by RCA. In 15% of the cases it is supplied by LCX, and to distinguish between the two, we have to look at ST elevation in lead 3 and lead 2 and compare it. If lead 3 is showing more ST elevation than lead 2, then it is the RCA. If lead 2 is showing a bigger ST elevation than lead 3, then it is the LCX. V2, V3, V4 is the anterior wall of the heart and it is supplied by left anterior descending. V1 to V4, it is the septum plus anterior wall of the heart, and in that case it is anteroseptal MI, and it is the supplying artery is the left anterior descending. 1 AVL is the high lateral wall, V5, V6 is the lateral wall. So this is the lateral wall MI, and in this case L6 is more commonly involved artery. Left bundle branch block, left bundle branch is here, and so if there is left bundle branch block on ECG, then probably it is anterior wall MI secondary to LAD, left anterior descending artery occlusion. UV4R is suggestive of right ventricular wall MI, and in that case RCA should be the culprit artery. V1 and V2 depressions, they are suggestive of posterior wall MI, and posterior wall MI is more commonly associated with RCA, right coronary artery, than LCX, and we should suspect posterior wall MI when inferior wall MI is associated with V1 and V2 depression. Then what we will do, as we learned here, that we would put V7, V8, V9 in the posterior intercostal spaces and look for ST elevation here. Another clue of posterior wall MI on a normal 12 lead ECG is ST elevation in V6. So if inferior wall MI is associated with ST elevation in V6, then we should suspect posterior wall MI, because V6 is nearest to the posterior wall. Electrically silent, some of the MIs can be missed. Suppose patient has come with chest pain and droptic cardiac markers are positive, and still there is no ECG change. So this is called as electrically silent MI. Some of the MI, myocardial infarction, that occurs in the left circumflex artery territory, that can be missed on a normal ECG, and hence MI in this arterial location can be missed on ECG. It can lead to electrically silent MIs. Now let's solve some ECGs to apply the concept that we have learned. So here there is ST elevation in 1 AVL, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6. So this is anterior, because V2, V3, V4 are involved, plus lateral plus high lateral. We know that lateral plus high lateral are more commonly involved in LCX, but here anterior wall is also involved. So anterior wall is involved in LAD, left anterior descending. So this is left anterior descending artery occlusion leading to extensive anterior wall MI. Now here we can see ST elevation in 2,3 AVF. So this is inferior wall MI. Whenever there is inferior wall MI, it is very important to rule out right ventricular wall MI and posterior wall MI. Right ventricular wall MI should be suspected when there is ST elevation in V1. So however, here there is ST depression in V1 and V2. So this could be an associated posterior wall MI. This can be confirmed by looking for V7, V8 and V9. So here 2,3 AVF, and now we know inferior wall MI is caused by two arteries, whether it is RCA, whether it is LCX. But here we see that ST elevation in RCA is ST elevation in lead 2 is more than lead 3. If we compare, see, this is a bigger ST elevation. So if lead 2 is more than lead 3, then we know LCX is the answer. So LCX is the answer, and LCX artery occlusion had led to inferior wall MI plus lateral wall. V5 and V6 are also involved here. We know that V6 elevation can also occur because of the posterior wall involvement, and there is suspected posterior wall involvement as well. So this is LCX territory. Here if we see, there is 2,3 AVF, and if we see here, elevation in lead 3 is more than elevation in lead 2. So this is RCA territory infarct. Also here we can see that there is V1 and V2 depression, so we have to rule out suspected here. Posterior wall MI is also suspected, so this is infero-posterior wall MI due to RC occlusion. Again here if you see in this ECG, there is ST elevation in 2-3 AVF, so this is inferior wall MI, and also there is ST elevation in V5 and V6, so lateral wall is also involved. There is ST depression in V1 to V3. Now this can be due to posterior wall MI, or it could be a reciprocal change secondary to ST elevation in V5 and V6, and to confirm this we have to put V7, V8 and V9. And here ST elevation in 2 is greater than 3. If we compare, ST elevation in 2 is greater than ST elevation in 3, so this is LCX territory infarct leading to inferior wall MI plus lateral wall MI. We know that V5 and V6 can be involved, lateral wall can be involved in circumflex artery, and plus posterior wall MI that can be confirmed with V7, V8, V9. And after putting for V7, V8, V9, what we see is there is an ST elevation here, mild ST elevation, but it is present. So this is lateral plus inferior and posterior wall MI due to left circumflex artery. Here if we look, ST elevation is present in V1, V2, V3, V4. So septum is involved and anterior wall is involved. So this is anteroseptal MI. And if we look, there is also deep Q wave and T wave inversion is there. So Q wave formation and T wave inversion, it occurs in hours, 2 days. So actually the MI has actually become subacute. Many hours to days could have passed when the patient had presented with this ECG and anteroseptal MI. So which artery is the culprit artery here? LED, left anterior descending, is the artery that has got involved. Again here if we see in this next ECG, 2-3 AVF is showing ST elevation. Here even deep Q waves are involved. Usually the Q wave, it is within the one small box, but here it is almost 4 to 5 small boxes. So here deepening of Q wave is there. So at least hours have passed before patient has presented to the doctor, and inferior wall here is associated with ST depression in V1 and V2. So there is posterior wall involved as well. So now whether it is RCA or LCX, because they both can supply the inferior and posterior wall. So here there is ST elevation in V5 and V6 as well. So it is LCX territory. This is a common mimicker of this ECG is a common mimicker of MI. Here if you see, there is ST elevation in 1, 2, 3 AVL, V2, V3, 4, V5, V6. So this is generalized ST elevation. So whenever there is generalized ST elevation, not regional, not localizing to either inferior wall or anterior wall or lateral wall, this is a generalized ST elevation, and this occurs in acute pericarditis. When the ST changes are not localized to a particular region and it is generalized, then it is due to acute pericarditis. And this ST elevation is also associated with PR depression. This is also a finding of acute pericarditis. Let's focus on this ECG. This ECG is pointing out prominent deep Q waves. Thus there are no STT changes currently. So this is indicative of old myocardial infarction. By looking at the ECG, you can say that this patient would have had MI in the past. Here again there is inferior wall MI. There is no ST depression, so posterior wall MI is not suspected here. but we have to rule out right ventricular wall MI, and here there is V4R, V5R and V6R which is showing ST elevation. So this is right ventricular wall MI plus inferior wall MI, and the artery, culprit artery here is the RCA territory. Here this patient has presented with 20 minutes of chest pain, typical chest pain, and the ECG is showing hyperacute T waves. This is the first sign of MI on ECG. And let's look again, this is the last ECG, 2, 3 AVF is showing ST elevation, so inferior wall MI, and we learned that V1 is the nearest lead to the right ventricle and it is also showing ST elevation. So whenever inferior wall MI is there, plus if you find ST elevation in V1, we have to rule out right ventricular wall MI, and V4R, V5R, V6R, they are showing ST elevation. So this is inferior wall MI plus right ventricular wall MI secondary to RCA thrombosis. So I hope this video was useful for you people, and thank you for watching, and if you like it then share and subscribe. Thank you.